connectivity. That is not the way I want to start this show. I think we're good now. Hi. Oh my gosh, you guys. Hi again today. So excited. And I know you guys are excited too, because you've been talking about it. I've been keeping the secret for a long time, but you guys have been talking about it on Facebook. I'm so excited. You guys know I love Halloween. I mean, really, there's just no way around it. I love Halloween, and this has been an incredibly exciting day. So I got the brand new Halloween collection this morning. Excuse me. And I opened it immediately because, I mean, there's beads on my doorstep. Who's not going to open the beads? So I opened them and did a happy dance. I came and did Facebook Live on Sarah Ellis Designs and kept my mouth sort of closed and got done there and did a happy dance and tried to get some work done. Did another happy dance. I have not been able to contain myself all day, you guys. It's been so hard to keep it under wraps because I knew that you guys were going to love it. I mean, come on. Jesse James Beads, they nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. Halloween all over the place. Getting my Halloween on. So you may or may not have noticed that there is a Sarah Ellis, the Ringmaster mix. I'm so proud of and so happy about. Yeah, I'll get back to that in just a second because there's other things as well. Let's just put that one to the side for just a second. So on the softer side of the Halloween kind of fall, there is pumpkin spice and everything nice. And this one has my heart. I'm telling you, I just love this. I was telling Sarah earlier, the metals that are in this are so warm and just, it's just good stuff. There's copper and there's that antique bronze and brassy colors, and it's just good stuff, you guys. It's just good stuff. I mean, I don't even, like, words are hard. Words are hard. So beautiful. There's a strand. There is a design elements mix for it. And then, of course, there is the Pumpkin King and Jack and Sally. And, I mean, you just can't go wrong. Kind of covered all the bases here. You got your Circus for those of us who are circus freaks. You've got the softer side for pumpkin spice and things that will carry you straight on until Christmas. And then you've got your, the Pumpkin King, Jack Skellington and Sally, and that will also carry you, if you are brave like I am, that will carry you all the way through Christmas as well, because it works for both. Nightmare Before Christmas works for both Halloween and for Christmas. So yeah, this is just a really beautiful, wonderful collection. If you guys have not had the opportunity to check it out, what have you been doing with your Friday afternoon and evening? Go do that. But wait, stay here first, because we are going to make a pair of earrings. We are going to just quickly glance at some of the rest of the collection. Jesse James Beads was so kind to let me help put together the Ringmaster mix for you guys. Oh my gosh. So Sarah and I kind of brought this up to Sarah while we were at Bead Fest. And honestly, I wasn't really sure what she was going to say. I don't know. I always ask and I just anticipate that everybody's answers are always going to be no. Like, that's just kind of how it is. But you never know until you ask. And so I brought this up to Sarah and she was like, okay, what would a Ringmaster bead mix look like? And so I started pulling beads and I was like, this is the perfect shade of red. This red has to be there. This black has to be there. It's got to have this. It's got to have that. So it was really fun to kind of get the beginnings of the mix together and show her what, like, my vision for it was going to be. And we were standing there talking and I was like, it needs something else. And she was like, I know exactly what it is that it needs. And she went and got the black and white swirl. You'll see it if you haven't already seen it. It's my favorite bead in the whole mix. I'm just gonna get right down here too. Oh, here's the crazy ruler. Crazy ruler needs to go. Okay. You are so right. The ups and downs and the questioning of your choices is part of the maturing process. You are so right about that. That is just the absolute truth. And I gotta tell you, I've had a lot of ups and downs and a lot of moments where I wasn't real sure what I was doing with my life and if I was doing what I was supposed to be doing. But I know today in my heart of hearts that I absolutely am doing what I'm supposed to be doing with who I'm supposed to be doing it with. And I am ready for whatever comes next, you know, and I've got a great group of friends with you guys in the Secret Stash group and everywhere else. It's just really makes me feel good, you guys. It makes me feel good. I'm so happy and so blessed to get to share it with all of you guys. So, all right, this is the strand. Oh yes, this is the Peaches and Cream strand, not Peaches and Cream. What on earth? Oh my goodness, pumpkin spice and everything, not Peaches and Cream. Like, where did that even come from? Pumpkin spice. So this is absolutely beautiful, and it has the ceramic beads on it. And I don't know if you guys remember, but you see this little guy right here? I have pointed this bead out. Every time I get close to this bead, I point it out because this is one of my favorites. I love this bead so much, and I have a little hoard of these beads. Like, if I ever got the opportunity to go to the warehouse, I would search these beads out and like fill my pockets up with them. I love them. So this is the strand for pumpkin spice and everything nice, and you're going to notice that it has a lot of copper in it. Absolutely love copper. Look at this pineapple bead. That's one of those standout things that really makes this strand very, very different and unique. You've also got the antique brass and some of the gold color all mixed in, so it's just really kind of warm and yummy, and it definitely just kind of exudes pumpkin spice. They always nail it. They really, really do. Jesse James Beads, they know what they are doing. And I hope they keep me around. I never know when I pull out a clown. I mean, things could go south really quickly. All right, so here is the design elements mix that goes with that. I'm not going to open it, but we are going to talk about it just a little bit. There are these tassels here in the front. There are some pops of orange tassels back there, but more than anything, I wanted you guys to really take note of the metals. I just can't get over how well Jesse James Beads does metal. It's really just stunning. There's copper, there's like a regular copper, and then like an antique copper, and then the antique brass, and then you have that gold color. There are the little owls that are in there that are just cute as can be. Absolutely love those. I do see a little jack-o'-lantern charm that's right there. All of the same colors that are in that beautiful strand. And then you have this is like packed full. I don't know if you guys can tell with the glare, but look at how stuffed this bottom layer is. Just absolutely full of beads. And it has those bubble beads with the crystals in it. Just really, really beautiful. And then this bead with the ball chain, I love that. It's just really, really pretty. Every bit of this says fall, autumn, you know, right on into winter. This is really just a very beautiful, very classy fall mix for sure. I cannot wait to make some things with this and show you guys. And I can't wait to see what you guys do with it as well. Kelly, you're right. Copper and brass just say warmth. They really, really do. It's all fall, all fall. Absolutely love it. All right, so let's talk about the Pumpkin King, because we cannot talk about Halloween without the Pumpkin King. Again, I'm not going to open it. I'm just going to give you a sneak little peeky here. So there is Jack with a couple of different faces that are super cool. I love the purple tassels that are included, the boho bead. Just perfect. There is a nice filigree black bead that's in here that is just stunning. Some cage beads, just really, really awesome. Very colorful way of doing the Pumpkin King. It's not just your standard like orange and black. You know, there are pops of blue, some pinky orange in there. Just really, really beautiful, beautiful representation of the Pumpkin King. So, you know, maybe Halloween's not your jam, but the Pumpkin King, he can certainly be Christmas. If you want to stretch it just a little. All right, so the mini mix is probably my favorite, just because I'm a huge fan of the black and white, and you get that full length Jack in there that is just amazing. There's a little bit of everything in this one. I won't pour it out, but I will move Jack out of the way just so we can kind of get a little bit of a look at what all's in here. So there's that brilliant pop of yellow that's in there that is really awesome. There are some rhinestone spacers. This one is super, super cool. The metal on this is, it's like a muted kind of soft, what is the word I'm looking for? It's a soft silver. It's not like a, you know, shiny, crazy silver. I don't know. It's very understated and beautiful. There are some hematite spacers in here that I love. I think that's a great combination. I see some more cage beads. Really, really excited. Ooh, look at that. Oh, yeah. Lots of bling. Absolutely love it. It's beautiful. I mean, that's all you can say about it. How do you take Halloween things and make them beautiful? Well, you give them to Jesse James Beads. That's what you do. Give them an idea and they can turn it into amazingness. Here is Sally. So you've got your whole little Sally here. She is so adorable. And then you've got the teardrop beads that have that really cool kind of mauve pink to them. There are the greens. All of the colors that are in her dress are in this mix. The yellows, that coppery color, the pinks. And the pinks are in different shades. There are some black roses. It's just really, really awesome. I love, love, love it. Are Jack and Sally 3D? Not really. I mean, they're definitely deeper than flat. See, she's got some definition, you know, but like she doesn't have like a back on her. Like you don't see like the back of her dress or the back of her hair. She's meant to go this direction, obviously, as a pendant. Oh, she's so cute. Look at that. She's so cute. I just can't stand it. She's awesome. And then, unfortunately, the best bead in here is in the back. Look at these. So I said I wasn't going to dump it out, but I can't help it. Look at these. That is her dress. That is the pattern of her dress. Is that not awesome? And these are both beads. These would make awesome earrings. And anybody who knows this movie knows exactly what this pattern is. Super, super cool. Yes, you can string Jack and Sally. If you guys are interested in seeing Jack and Sally in action, oh my gosh, look at that. Oh, I love it. If you guys want to see Jack and Sally in action, let us know, because I am going to do a couple of projects using these, but specifically if you want to see Jack and Sally, like, you know, how I would use them in a piece of jewelry, let me know. Let Sarah know for sure, because I am more than happy to show you exactly how I would string them up. All right, so putting the lid on Sally. She's got to get back in there. The mini mixes are always so full, I can never get the top back on there. I have to be careful. All right, so last but not least, oh my gosh. So here is the strand. I can't help but just kind of scream and act like a crazy person. Yes, so this is the Ringmaster strand. This bead was probably the bead that started the whole conversation, was this guy. And it's kind of hard to tell over the camera here, over the iPad, but the color red on this is not like, I don't really know how to explain it. It is not like Crayola crayon red. Like that's this. This is red. This is like a deep, just luscious, very fancy red. I don't know. It's not quite maroon because it definitely is red, but it just has that really deep, deep tone to it that is just amazing. Look at this. Like, oh, wow. In person, like you have to squint to look at that. It's so sparkly and beautiful. I'm in love. I'm absolutely in love. Look at that guy. And oh, yes, I could not be more pleased. I had an idea, and the design team at Jesse James Beads executed this beautifully. Like, I mean, it's exactly what I had in mind. Exactly. It's just amazing. I could not be happier with it. Ruby. Yes, that is the color. That's the word I was looking for. Ruby, garnet red, vampire red. Yes, you guys are nailing it. You absolutely are getting it right. I could not make those words come out of my mouth. So that was the strand. And then, of course, there is the design elements mix. It's the 2-tier. And this one is going to stay closed. I've got one that's already open, so I'm going to pour it out for you guys. I have one that is, it's still packaged, and more than likely it's going to stay that way, and I'm going to put it in a very, very special place. I will not use it for anything. So this was on the top tier, and let's see, there isn't, well, not from this part. There's not anything missing out of this one, but there is out of the bottom because I did have to pull to create the project for today. So there are tassels here. There are some little black cats. There are these awesome swirls that are just really, really cool. There's some more swirls in the hematite color, the stars. You guys, I'm sure that some of you have read The Night Circus. That is really like definitely the inspiration here. That was one of my all-time favorite books ever. I have read it like 3 times. And of course, I'm a sucker for all things circus or carnival related. So I read all of those things when I get my hands on them. But The Night Circus is one of those that I actually have more than one copy of the book, one that's in hardback and one that's in paperback. The hardback is just for display purposes only. I'm that kind of nerd about it. But that's really what this reminds me of. Like, that's what the inspiration here was. It's just, I don't know, just beautiful. It really is. That's just all you can say about it, is that it is just beautiful. So before we move on to the bottom tier of this packaging, I want to talk about the tassels for just a second. So first of all, these tassels are probably some of the softest tassels I have ever felt. Like, they are so luxuriously soft. Just really amazing. I want to flip this over here on the back and show you. You can see where this was tied, and that tie is underneath the wraparound for the tassel. Tassels have a tendency, all tassels, okay, this is not a Jesse James beads issue. This is an all tassels in the entire history of tassels issue. Have a tendency sometimes when you're working with them to slip out of their tie here. If you are concerned with that, before you start working with your tassel, if you will just take a little tiny, I'm talking the smallest amount of glue of some sort. I'm talking like a teeny beeny baby drop, like you didn't even see that happen, right? And just drop it right there and let that glue sit for just a second. Your tassel won't come undone. Not, you know, I don't know. It's just one of those things that just kind of makes me feel better about it, because when I'm creating jewelry, like, my hands are all over it and I feel like I'm really hard on my tassel. And it's not the tassel's fault. It's really kind of my fault for being not extra careful with it. So if you just add like a little drop, like the tiniest, like a toothpick tip drop right there, then I can completely forget about it and not worry about it. And you can see it's dried and it's gone. You would never even know that it was there. So if you worry about your tassels, don't hesitate to give them a little extra security, okay? It's just the name of the beast when it comes to tassels, particularly when they're very, very soft. And I am not soft. I'm very, very rough. So it's kind of a bad combination, me being rough and the tassels being very soft. So, all right, this is the bottom. Now, I'm so excited. The bottom is just as full and beautiful as the top. It is missing a couple of beads. This is the swirl, the one that Sarah was like, yep, this is what this mix needs. And she was absolutely right. This is exactly the bead that needed to go with this mix. There's another one of these. It's already attached to an earring. We're going to make earrings. So if you're wondering if you get 2 of these, you absolutely do. I'm going to set this one to the side because we are going to use it. And just take a look at all the rest. There is some more of that beautiful ruby red. Yes, I love it. I absolutely love it. And then there is a pop of bright red, which I think was a really cool combination to put both in there. I love it. I really, really love it. And these are gorgeous. These are just so pretty. There's some black hearts with the facet. They're just so elegant and pretty. And then you've got these disco balls. So you've got lots of sparkle and bling. You've got these little white beads that you can use as spacers. Oh, here's another one of the swirls. That actually goes in that top tier I just put it in the wrong place, but so there's that. There are some of these big Chinese crystals, the faceted ones, and some large hole beads that are, see that iridescent kind of, the way the light hits that is just super cool. Like everything in here is just exciting and beautiful. I love it. You've got some great drops that you could make some really fun earrings with. There are these oval drops. Really, really love them. And then these swirls. I don't know. I could just kind of gush about this forever because they are just super cool. They're really, really beautiful. This guy, we're going to use him in our design. Now this is more of a maroon red, and oh gosh, it's so pretty. It's so pretty. So we're going to pull that guy out and use him in our earrings design, just so you can see the mix. It's just, here, let me bring it all in here because let's be honest, it's going to be all together. Look how awesome. And then you bring in the strand. It's just good stuff. It's just good stuff. And I know I'm just totally over the top excited, but I just can't help it. Look at it. It's everything that I envisioned it to be. It's just, yeah, I'm losing words. That's how excited I am about it. I have barely been able to get anything done today. It's been that bad. All right, so let me show you the earrings that we're gonna make. So I've already made one. Ta-da! And we are going to make another one. These are really easy. I am proud. Thank you. I'm over the moon. I'm just over the moon. I can't stand it. The very first thing I did was send a picture to my mom and I was like, look, Mom. Like, it doesn't matter how old I am. The first person I have to tell my good news to is my mom. I'm like, look at what I did, Mom. Okay. So this earring is super easy to do. I'm going to show you guys how. We're going to walk through it. This is probably the easiest teardrop shaped earring in the history of earrings. I'm going to show you a really quick trick to make them perfect every single time so that you don't have to be intimidated by that shape because it's easy to achieve. And I'm gonna prove it to you. And then on the outer edge of this is this Preciosa cup chain in black. It's in jet. Like, all of it is black. Even the metal is black. So when it says jet, that's really, really what it means. We are going to wire wrap this to the outer edge of our earring component using some 24 gauge wire. Super easy to do. And then we're just going to add this bead dangle and an ear wire. I'm going to show you. Don't think this is a hard design. It's not. I'm going to show you how easy this is. It's super, super easy. You guys will be whipping these up in no time. And the great thing about it is I made a large one just to kind of show off this really cool bead here, but you can take this exact same design and you can make really small teardrops with this. Okay, so keep that in mind. If you don't want a huge earring, I'm going to show you how to make it. You can definitely make this smaller. So what are you going to need for this? What you're going to need is this guy. I know you guys have seen me use this a bunch. This is the Artistic Wire mandrel set. It actually comes in a set. You can pop the top of this off and it comes with some other shapes. We are using the round shape for this one, and we're actually going to use this bottom tier. It's the one that I used the most. And you can grab this guy over on Jessie James Beads if you want one of these. I've marked it to mark off the millimeters for the sizes of all of the circles that you can make. It also comes with, let's see, an oval mandrel to put on it, a square mandrel, and I believe the other one is a triangle, but I am not absolutely 100% certain. I use the round one and the oval one the most, but I am really trying to up my game a little bit and try out the squares. So if you guys would like to see a square project, let me know. I'm always up for the challenge. So all right, so you're going to need your mandrel to make some circles with, and you're going to need a piece of 18 gauge wire. I'm using silver color German style wire. You can use artistic wire with this if you want to. I always prefer German style, though that's just my preference. I'm using an exact measurement of 5 inches of this, okay? So I also want to note that I did make a nice flush cut on both ends. If it will focus, you could see it. There you go. So that's really, really important because we're going to do some loops on either end of this piece of wire. And So you want to have a nice flush cut here so that it will sit nicely, and that's on both ends. If you guys don't have a flush cutter, this is the one that I use. This one is the designer flush cutter from Beadalon. You can also pick this up over on Jesse James Beads and grab it. It is, I'm not gonna lie, this is a little bit more of an expensive tool, but it's worth every penny. Worth every penny. I cannot say that enough. The blade on this guy is super, super sharp, and it lasts a very, very long time. And I'm very hard on tools, but this one, it's a good one. Okay, so we're going to take our 5-inch piece of wire and we're going to place it down here with our thumb sort of in the middle, just on that bottom tier of the circles. Okay, and then I'm just going to take my other hand and help guide the wire into a teardrop shape. Now, one thing you're going to notice, see how my ends are not even? That's okay. You can manipulate the wire so that it will even up. Okay, you just have to work with it just a little bit. You want them to crisscross, and then kind of find more of the middle there. See, now I worked it out so that it's pretty even now. All right, so I'm gonna take it off of the tool, and then I am gonna separate it just a bit. And you can always kind of guide this with your fingers and really manipulate it into the exact shape that you want. That's pretty close to the perfect shape. Later on, after I wire wrap the cup chain to this, you can always go in and wiggle it some more to close it up or to elongate it, whatever you want to do to it. Okay, so you can still move this and maneuver it around. I am, however, using 18 gauge wire, like I said. If you use 20 gauge wire with this, you want to work harden it, because the 20 will definitely lose its shape if you are too rough with it as you are wire wrapping onto it. Okay, so keep that in mind. If you don't have 18, you can get away with the 20. Just put it on your block and hit it a few times with a nylon hammer or a rawhide hammer, mallet, whatever, to work harden it a bit. Okay, so what we're gonna do, super easy, you guys. If you have not made earrings this way before, I'm about to blow your mind. Just show you how easy this is. So I'm gonna take my round nose pliers and I'm gonna grab one end of this, and I'm gonna chuck up on it just a little bit. You can see how far back I've got that in the pliers there. And I'm gonna take this one and I'm gonna roll a loop that direction. So I know that doesn't really mean much when I say that direction. I'll show you. So I'm just gonna roll towards the back, okay? So when I take the pliers away and show it to you, that loop from the front, you don't see it, right? But when you turn it to the side, you can see there's the loop that I created, okay? That's exactly what we want. Now, with the other one, I'm going to come in with my pliers, same thing, but this time I'm going to roll the loop to the side, okay? And I want to try to make the loop pretty close to the same size as the first loop. They don't have to be exact, okay? So I'm going to hold on to that, and I'm just going to roll back. Okay, so now we've got a loop going this direction. Okay, I know, that's really weird, right? We have one loop going towards the out, one loop going towards the back. That makes absolutely no sense when you're just looking at it. But it is so perfect when you think about it. So I'm going to come in with my chain nose pliers, and I'm going to, the one that's coming to the back, I'm going to open it up just like I would any other loop. So just kind of laterally like that, just lift it so that it'll open. And now I want to come over here and slide the other piece on, and you may have to open it just a tiny bit more to get that wire to hook on to the other piece. Well, mine doesn't want to hook at all. There we go. All right, so now I've just hooked that on. I said, oh, it's so easy, and now I have made a royal mess out of it. Hold on. Leave it to me to make a big old mess out of it. And then just close your loop back, okay? I haven't closed it completely, but you can see. So now I am going to just guide it with my pliers just a little. It did take a little bit of finessing with my fingers there because it is kind of a tight, awkward kind of space. But look, ta-da, now you have the perfect teardrop shape. And there was really nothing to that. It was 2 loops going, you know, 2 totally different ways. One of them is hooked on underneath, so you can see when I pull it down, you can see where it's connected, okay? Isn't that smart? I love that trick. I do that every single time I want to make a teardrop shaped bead, or I'm sorry, component, unless it is one that has loops on either side, and then I connect it with, say, a jump ring or some sort of solid ring or something like that. So this is my 1 loop at the top teardrop technique, and it was a lot messier than I intended for it to be. But it's still effective. You understand like how it works, and that's the part. I'm sorry that my fingers were in the way and I had to struggle a little bit with the pliers, but it's just kind of the name of the beast, because it is kind of a strange, it's an awkward kind of movement to hook one to the other, but it works and it makes the perfect teardrop. All right, yes, Kelly says another back pocket trick. You got that, ranks up there with your head pins. I agree. I totally agree. It's a great trick. And you can see, like, you can still come in and clean up that teardrop shape, because I kind of did move it out of its shape as I was messing with it. All right, so the teardrop is ready to go. Now we're going to bring in the cup chain. And I have not pre-cut my piece of cup chain. I don't want to give you a measurement on this because it's going to be a little bit different for everybody depending on what size teardrop you are making, okay? So I'm just going to wire wrap mine on just like it is, and then we'll trim it when we get closer to the end. I feel like that's just easier to do, okay? And it's going to keep us from overcutting or undercutting. So to wire wrap this on to our component, we're going to use 24 gauge wire. You can use 26 gauge for this if you want to, but I really wouldn't go any bigger than 24 gauge because you're going to have to take that wire between the spaces of the cups. And you can see this cup chain in particular is a very small cup chain, and so there's not a lot of room in there. Okay, so you want to use a small wire. All right, to get this started though, the very first thing I want to do is I want to anchor my wire to my component. So to do that, I'm just going to take my wire and lay it across the surface of the component on one side. Okay, I've given myself just a tiny little tail here, and I just want to hook it. And it doesn't have to be pretty. That first wrap is never pretty. It's never tight. You can always cut it off later. It's really just an anchor is all that it is. And I'm going to manipulate it with my fingers just a tiny, tiny bit so that I actually have 2 wraps here. So I kind of cheated. Not really, but it feels like a cheat when you do it that way. All right, so I'm going to bring this all the way up here to the top where I want it to be. I'm going to leave the tail on for now just so that I can use it as sort of an anchor, hold it down with my thumb to keep the wire in this wire in place. Now I'm going to bring in my cup chain, and I am going to wrap. I'm going to skip that first cup, okay, and wrap between the first and second cup just once. And that's all. There is no fancy wrapping here, okay? So I just hooked that. I'm just going to come up through the middle. I've got about a piece of 22" of my 24 gauge wire, okay? So that's probably more than I need, but I want to have enough. So I just wrapped once, and you can see this guy is still sticking out at the end. He's kind of up there in space. We're going to lay him down, but we're going to wait till the very, very end when everything else is attached, and we'll come back and fix this guy just a little bit. Okay, so don't worry that this guy is up in the air. It's totally fine. All right, so very easily, I'm just going to wrap, and every wrap is going to go between 2 of the cups, okay, and then up through the middle of the component. And you just want to use your fingers to kind of hold the cup chain onto the surface of the component. Guide that wire between the middle of the cups and then up through the center. Okay, and now you can see I can let go and I don't have to worry. Everything is where it needs to be. Okay, so now I'm gonna kind of zoom through it now. There's really nothing else to it. It's just one single wrap. Now, if you want to get crazy with this, you can. You can double up the length of your 24 gauge wire, go all the way around one time with your links, or going in between once between each cup, and then when you get to the end, you can turn around and come back and go the other direction and wire wrap again. There's absolutely no reason to do it security wise as far as keeping your cup chain on the wire. At that point, it just becomes decorative. Okay, so you can definitely kind of change this whole design up a little bit with just some tiny adjustments by, you know, add an extra wire, or you could actually add some dangles in between. You could add beads to your wire as you were wire wrapping. So a lot of different ways you can take this very easy technique. And if you've got cup chain at home and you're afraid to use it because you don't know what to do with it, this is a great way to use it. If you've never used cup chain before though, Jesse James Beads has got a beautiful assortment of cup chain, like crazy pretty cup chain. I am a huge, huge fan. It's one of those things that really adds sparkle and bling to any design. Doesn't matter what it is. If you add cup chain to it, it instantly makes it great. Okay, my iPad plug is in the way. There we go. All right, so just wire wrapping. Yes, Julie, you could use colored wire in between here. There's some really pretty colors of artistic wire. You could use, ooh, a red would be really pretty going between all of those black cups with the silver component. That would be a really cool mix. All right, so just going on around. Just kind of, the only real struggle here is just trying to keep your wire and your cup chain from getting all tangled up together. But it really does work up pretty quickly once you get the cup chain initially anchored onto the component. Ooh, yeah, Sharon says orange wire and 24 gauge. That would be awesome. The orange and the black and the silver together, that would be really pretty. Would definitely right up my alley for sure. All right, going on around. We're getting close to the end here, and I will cut off, when we get right up to it, I'll cut off the cup chain, and then we will come back around here and fix this guy. So you can see I ended up with way more wire than I needed, but it's better to be safe than sorry for sure. Kay wants to know, could you do a round hoop instead of a teardrop? You absolutely could, and that's the cool thing about the mandrel tool that I had, this guy. You can make teardrop shapes, you can make perfectly round components with this. You can do all kinds of stuff, and it even gets small enough to make some large jump rings here on the very, very end. So yeah, it doesn't have to be a teardrop shape. You can do circles as well. All right, so I'm up here to the very last, I'm between the last two cups that I need. So I'm gonna go ahead and trim off my cup chain so that I can kind of get it out of the way. You just wanna trim that space of metal that's between the cups, okay? And I am gonna trim off some of this wire just to get it out of the way, so we have less to look at here. All right, so I'm right up here at the end. So I'm going to bring this around right up next to that last piece of the cup and wrap around about 3 times. It really doesn't have to be any more than that, okay? Then I'm just going to trim off my tail. And then let's go back over here to the beginning where we started, where this guy is just kind of sticking out there into space. You see him? He's sticking right up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unwrap the first couple of wraps that I made. I'm going to use my chain nose pliers to do that just because I feel like it's easier to get a hold of it. Okay, so now, I don't know if you can see it or not, but that piece of metal, do you see that teeny beanie? You probably don't see it. There's a little piece of metal where I cut the cup chain. I want to try to catch that in my wire so that I can lay it down onto the surface. And I might not have gotten it. It's kind of hard for me to, I can't bring this like right up to my face because then you guys can't see what I'm doing. But you want to try to catch that little piece of the flat wire. There, I think I got it. So now he's going to lay in place. It was just a tiny, tiny little sliver of wire that was there. Just that little teeny beanie. Very small. But if you can catch it with your wire wraps and lay it down, then he will lay down nice and flat. Trim off the tail. And we have wrapped our component in all of our really, really pretty cup chain. So it looks really cool from the front because it's still shiny, but then from the side, you really do see the crystals that are in that cup chain. So there's a lot of shimmer and shine to this earring for sure. So if you didn't want to add any beads to this, you could just go ahead and add an ear wire and be done with it, but we are extra. And so we are going to add some beads to this. Just a reminder of where we're going. I'm going to sit this one here so you can see it. So we're going to take the little swirly bead and we're going to hang it down here in the center with a series of 3 4mm jump rings. Okay. And then just wire wrap this bead at the top. Yes, Karen, you can use memory wire for a perfect round earring. That is such a good tip. Memory wire is one of those things that you can do so many different things with. And yeah, it makes the best round, perfect hoop earrings every time. Love it. That's really good. I always forget about memory wire, but it's good stuff. All right, so what are we going to do? We are going to wire wrap this guy, and we're going to do the head pin trick that I always do. So I have a short piece of 22 gauge wire. That's my go-to. And we are going to bring in our round nose pliers. We're going to grab that wire right at the very, very tip, the tip of the wire and the tip of the pliers. Okay. And then we are going to wrap that wire around the tip of the pliers. We've wrapped it around once, all the way around. And now we're going to go twice directly underneath that first one. And then when we see the cut end of the wire, just that shiny flat surface, then we're going to stop. Okay. Now before we take it off of the pliers, we're going to bend the long end of the wire out this direction. Okay. All right, now we're going to take the tail end of the wire and we are going to guide it through. My piece is a little long, so it's being a little crazy here. You want to guide that end back through the 2 loops that you made. Okay. Give yourself a good little tail. And then you want to come in with a pair of nylon jaw pliers and grab the wire right up against the 2 loops. Okay. And now we want to take another pair of pliers. I like to use bent chain nose pliers for this just because I feel like I get a good grip, but you can use whatever. Grab that wire and then you want to pull. And you're pulling and then you really want to pull tight right at the very, very end. Like you really want to tug on it. So you've done 2 things. You have tied a knot, made this cute little rosette at the end to create a head pin out of your wire, and you've also work hardened the length because you've pulled it through the jaws of the nylon jaw pliers, which is super handy. Okay. All right, so now we're going to thread our bead on, and it's going to sit nicely right on that knot that we made. Okay. All right, now we're just going to do a regular wrapped loop. So I'm going to grab the wire as it is exiting the bead with my chain nose pliers. I'm going to bend that wire 90 degrees. And then I'm going to come in with my round nose pliers with the wire running between the barrel of the pliers. I'm going to go up and over the top barrel of the pliers, create that funny little question mark, little hook shape. June says make that in red or green for Christmas for mint candy. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I love Christmas time candy earrings. Those are some of my favorites. Like I've seen some blown glass that look like pieces of candy that I love. I think they're really cool. This would be awesome in red or green for like peppermint or wintergreen mint. Yeah, that'd be really awesome. All right, so I'm just going to switch hands. I'm going to take the tail end of my wire and wire wrap around that straight section that is between the loop and the top of the bead. Okay, then when I take it off of the pliers, we are ready to trim the tail off. All right, let's trim that off. So this is ready to go. Let's go ahead and wire wrap our other bead and then we'll just put everything together. So I've got another piece of the 22 gauge wire. I'm going to set this one to the side. And we're going to wire wrap this guy. We're going to put a loop on the top and a loop on the bottom. We're going to do wire wrapped loops, and we want one of those loops to go the opposite direction. So let's walk through that real quick. So I'm going to come down on the wire about 1.5 inches, 2 inches, something like that. And grab the wire with my chain nose pliers and take that short end of the wire and just bend it just like that to make a backwards 7. Okay. I've got a nice sharp bend in that. I'm going to bring back my round nose pliers, place that wire running between the barrel of the pliers. Same thing as before if we had a bead, just up and over. Okay. And then on around. Okay. And then I'm just going to take the tail end and wrap it around this straight section of the wire about 3 times. I'm going to use my pliers here instead of my fingers. Okay. Take that off and we're ready to trim the tail.